بسم الله والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه ومن تمسك بسنته إلى يوم الدين أما بعد. Okay guys, so before the salah we finished on a rukun, what a rukun is, and what did we say that the word rukun means in the language, guys? You can remember? ما معنى ركن لغة? What does rukun mean linguistically? عمود. ممتاز. عمود. من قال عمود? ما شاء الله. عمود, which is a pillar. This is what it means in the language. But as it relates to the meaning, Assalamu alaikum akhi. Subhanallah, long time. How are you, man? You okay? Good to see you, akhi. Rukun istilahan in the religion. What is a rukun in the religion as it relates to the salah? What did we say that a rukun is? لا 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 ركن شيء والواجب شيء.
Is a rukun something which is a
ما في مشكلة. Where are the arkan found? Outside of the salah or inside of the salah? Inside of the salah. ممتاز. طيب. I gave you guys the example of the pillars in the building. What happens if we take away the pillars of the building? No building. What happens if we take away the arkan of the salah? Mafi. No salah. Alright guys, that's how I want you to remember it. The rukun or arkan, which is the plural, if you take them away, even one of them, there is none of that action. Alright? Whether you do that intentionally or unintentionally. And the definition was هو الذي يلزم هو الذي الركن هو الذي يلزم من وجوده الوجود. If you have that, wujud means when something's present or available. If the rukun is there, the action will be there. Sorry guys. If the rukun is not there, then the action won't be there. Alright? And this cannot be compensated with by two prostrations for forgetfulness. Na'am ya akhi?
The word rukun, is it from the sunnah or have the ulama given it this name? Not like arkan al-iman is from what he said.
No.
But the word rukun in the salah specifically.
The question is, the word rukun, is this something that the ulama have, when they're explaining the prayer of the Prophet ﷺ, is this something that they came with? Or is it something that the Prophet ﷺ maybe mentioned in a hadith? Is that the question? And the answer is, I don't know. I don't know. Even the arkan al-iman, I don't remember arkan al-iman in the hadith of, like, for example, Jibreel alayhi salam. He says, arkan al-iman? أيوة لا أخبرني عن إيمان قال أن تؤمن بالله وملائكته إلى the end of the hadith. I don't remember it saying أركان الإيمان. المهم in any case the arkan of the salah are those things which are found inside the salah, and if they're not present, whether they're done intentionally or unintentionally, then the action is null and void. Brother Taysir, you asked me a question before the salah. You said, can you give an example? Because I mentioned the difference between the arkan and the wajibat. I said the arkan, they cannot be compensated under no circumstances. But the wajibat, it's possible to compensate something you miss from the wajibat of the salah if you miss it unintentionally. If you miss it, all of the conditions, the arkan and the wajibat, they all agree with one another that if you miss it intentionally, the action is null and void. Alright? The difference between the arkan and the wajibat is that if you miss a wajib unintentionally, you can compensate. But you can't do that for the arkan. So an example, taysir, of a rukn from the arkan of the salah is al-qiyamu. Alright, al-qiyam means that when somebody stands for the obligatory prayers, if one is able to do so. Standing, one more time, for the obligatory prayers, for the person that's able to do so. Standing for the obligatory prayers. Akhi, does that happen outside of the salah or inside of the salah? Inside. Tab'an. Once you say Allahu Akbar, you're standing, right? And you're inside, we've entered the salah. Right? This is a rukun. It's not a condition, because the conditions are outside. This is a rukun, it's inside. And the rukun, like I mentioned, if you meet it or you come with that rukun, then inshallah ta'ala, the action is going to be correct. If you don't, for example, Abu Sumayya today Salla jalisan. Salla Abu Sumayya jalisan. Abu Sumayya prayed sitting down. He better have a reason to pray sitting down because this is a rukun. If he doesn't have a valid reason to pray sitting down, is Abu Sumayya's salah correct? I didn't say accepted, I said correct.
No,
It's not correct. Why?
because he didn't follow the rukun.
Because he didn't come with the rukun. Alright? However, Abu Sumayya prayed and he told me that he's got a legitimate reason as for him praying sitting down. This is why I said that a rukun is al-qiyam al-fard, for the one that's able to do so. Standing for the obligatory prayers for the one that's able. If he legitimately isn't able to do so, then he's excused. Make sense, guys? So this is an example of somebody, for example, let's say I just felt like praying sitting down for Salat al-Isha. You say, Ismaeel, لماذا تجلس? Why are you sitting down? I say, I want to. Okay? Prayer is not accepted or not correct. Why? Because I didn't perform a rukun from the arkan of the salah. And the reason for not performing it was not a valid reason. You can't not perform a rukun because you don't want to perform a rukun. You have to have a legitimate reason. Make sense, guys? Jade. Taysir. Does that make sense, akhi? Another rukun, and I'll end on this here. Another rukun from the arkan of the salah is takbiratul ihram. ما معنى takbiratul ihram? For you, because you're wearing a green jacket and I'm wearing a green jacket.
When you say Allah out loud.
When though? Which one?
Right at the beginning.
At the beginning, excellent. Takbiratul ihram is the initial takbir that we make when we enter the salah. Once we enter the salah, things that are usually permissible from speech and action now become haram. Alaysa kadhalik? Once you say Allahu Akbar and you enter into the salah, it's not permissible now to speak unnecessarily to any, it's not permissible to answer your phone or anything like that. It's not permissible for you to do any actions that are not a necessity for you to do. That doesn't mean if you're praying now and you see your 2-year-old son or 2-year-old daughter just about to go and do something that's going to be harmful for them, you say, okay, I'm not allowed to move in the salah, so ma'alesh, man. Put your tawakkul in Allah, I'm going to continue my prayer. That's not what it means. Obviously, you would prevent your child from danger. But unnecessary actions, excessively moving in the salah, which could potentially invalidate your salah. Anything after the initial takbir is not permissible for you to do. So if somebody just says, I'm not going to do the takbiratul ihram because you don't want to, his prayer is batila. It's null and void because it's he's missed a rukun from the arkan of the salah, whether he done it out of forgetfulness or whether he done it intentionally. On the contrary, if somebody was in a ruku' and they raised from a ruku' and they didn't say Sami'a Allahu liman hamidahu, he didn't say that, alright, out of forgetfulness, is his prayer correct? Abu Sumayya.
The prayer is incorrect, but it's valid, inshallah, because he done it forgetfully and it's not a rukun.
Excellent. شفتم هذا? You guys understand? Raising from ruku' and saying Sami'a Allahu liman hamidahu, Allah listens and hears the one that praises him, is a wajib from the wajibat of as-salah. It's not a rukun. But this person that in the example I gave, he didn't miss it out intentionally. He didn't just say, can't be bothered to say it today. He legitimately forgot for whatever reason. So inshallah ta'ala, he made a mistake, bila shak, and he can make up for that mistake by doing what, ikhwan? Sujood as-sahu, ba'd as-salah. Oh, some ulama they say before the taslim, some say after the taslim. It's ikhtilaf bain al-ulama. Al-muhim, he does it when he finishes praying. Alright? From what I can remember, the ulama say whether you do it before the taslim or after the taslim, inshallah you would have sufficed.
You see, if he says Allahu Akbar when coming up from the ruku by accident, would that say still the same thing?
Same mas'ala. So he didn't come with a wajib from the wajibat of the salah. So he just yasjud sajdatain lis-sahw. He just makes 2 prostrations for forgetfulness. Now, Mekhi, the oldest. Who's the oldest?
So, is it rukun is plural or arkan is plural?
Who wants to answer that for the Shaykh? He says the question is the word rukun the plural or is the word arkan? I want to give that to Taysir because it's close to Maysor.
Arkan.
Those that know, huh?
Arkan.
Arkan is plural. Excellent. Arkan. Remember, akhi, when you've heard of the word arkanul iman, right? And the pillars of al-iman. Al-iman, is it got one pillar or is it got more than one pillar? All right.
Do you say the rukun of salah, so it's not just one?
No, if I'm talking about a rukun from the arkan of the salah, then I'm talking about one pillar from the pillars of the prayer. That make sense?
Yeah.
You sure?
Jazakallah.
Barakallahu feek.
You know, we start from ruku' and you said Sami Allahu liman hamidah is from the wajibat.
Wajibat,
From
naam.
the arkan.
Naam.
How do we classify what's from the wajibat, what's from the arkan? Are we going to go into that or?
Oh, bila shak, akhi. Bila shak wala rayba fi. The brother asks a fantastic question. He says that the example I gave when somebody comes up from ruku' and he says or he doesn't say Sami Allahu liman hamidah, how are we going to know what are the wajibat and what are the arkan? Are we going to study in this class? And I said, la shak. This is why I wanted to do what I'm doing right now before we go into the book, because the Shaykh doesn't classify these are the shurut, he does mention some of the shurut, but not in a way that this is a condition, this is a rukun, this is a wajib, this is a sunnah. He's talking about the Prophet's prayer. The Prophet ﷺ is obviously going to come with everything, but in terms of classifying, okay, if I miss this out unintentionally, what can I do to compensate for it? We're going to cover that before we get into this book, and I hope you guys don't mind. I just like to do things properly, you know? I don't want to do things half-heartedly. Any more questions, guys?
No.
No.
So if you come into the salah late,
Yeah.
and
No.
the imam's in ruku,
Mumtaz.
and you do takbir ihram,
Mm.
but you don't say the full Allahu Akbar, salam, Allahu Akbar like that, is the salah valid now?
So he says Allahu Akbar, but he doesn't do it
He
standing.
doesn't finish it standing. It's like Allahu Akbar. He's moving while he's saying it.
As if he's making a ruku' anyway.
Sorry?
It's as if he's making a ruku' anyway, rather than the takbir.
Yeah.
I'll get back to you on that. I'll get back to you because I don't feel comfortable answering. I'm not 100% sure. So basically, he says Allahu Akbar whilst he's going into ruku' at the same time. He doesn't say it standing. Now he says it. He says takbiratul ihram, but he doesn't do it standing. He's kind of standing and he's like bowing as he's doing it because he wants to catch the ruku'. Inshallah, let me write that down as a question.
I heard something, but I just wanted like some more expand on it or some more proof or something.
Go on, Bismillah. What have you heard?
I just heard that the salah is not valid if the person doesn't say fully, even if they Allahu Akbar, even the ra is bending down, the salah is not valid. But I don't know the proof for it, or I just wanted to know if you could expand on it. Or
I mean, that's what I was tempted to say. But the asl is that the person says the takbiratul ihram standing. That's the asl, you know. So yeah, Allahu a'lam. I don't know. Su'al?
إضافة على هذا السؤال أنا قبل كان سألت الشيخ نفس هذا السؤال فقال لي لو كان يقصد تكبيرة الإحرام يجب الصلاة إذا كان يقصد تكبيرة الركوع الصلاة لا تقبل.
Okay. He said that if the person intended takbiratul ihram, yani the initial takbir, then the salah is, he said, correct. And if he intended the takbir before you go into ruku', then it's not correct. هكذا قلت? Okay, he said one of the sheikhs said that, but I'll look into the mas'ala and inshallah ta'ala I'll share what I find inshallah next class inshallah ta'ala, or maybe on the WhatsApp group. I'll share on the WhatsApp group.
You see, if you're coming to join a salah,
Mm-hmm.
do you just say Allahu Akbar, or you know what you say normally, like Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdik?
Okay, Mumtaz, fantastic question. My question to you guys is, the dua when you open up the salah, is it from the arkan, the wajibat, or the sunan? Okay, that dua is from the sunan. And the sunan, we haven't covered it at all yet, but those sunan elements of the prayers, are those things which if you do it, you're going to be rewarded for it. And if you don't do it, then there's no sin upon you.
So you don't have to do it on salah anyway.
You don't have to. For example, قراءة سورة بعد قراءة الفاتحة. Reading a surah after reciting Surah Al-Fatiha. Is it from the arkan, the wajibat, or the sunan? Man قال واجبات. واجبات. Man قال واجبات. So basically, after you recite Surah Al-Fatiha, you have to And if you remember, to recite a surah after Fatiha. This is
For the first 2 rak'ah.
this is the mas'ala. For the first 2 rak'ah of a four rak'ah prayer, even if it was Fajr,
Any salah.
any salah, you guys say that you have to recite a surah after Surah Al-Fatiha. That's what you're saying, yeah? You guys understand the question, right?
Is there a condition like if I pray behind the
No, you pray by yourself. Or maybe you're the imam. أنت الإمام. ماذا تقول يا شيخ موسى؟
Are you saying surah or you mean ayah? Any ayah? When you say surah, it's
Ayah. Is it wajib? What do you say, Sheikh? Abu Bakr, Sheikh Abu.
No, it's not why it's sunnah.
Sunnah. إيش تقول? You said wajib?
Yes.
Remember the definitions, guys, of what wajib means. Yeah? Wajib means if you leave it out intentionally, your prayer is not correct. This is what you're saying, yeah?
Because the Prophet didn't leave it at all. In every those two rakahs, the first rakah, he never lifted it one even one time. So it counts as a wajib.
What do you say, Sheikh? Barakallahu feek. Barakallahu feek. Sheikh Ahmed, what do you say?
Sunnah.
Sunnah. Sheikh at the back, what do you say? ماذا تقول؟ قراءة السورة بعد قراءة الفاتحة سنة واجب ركن
I think it's wajib.
واجب؟ Abu Sumi, what do you say? Sunnah, ikhwan. Sunnah. I don't want to make you guys not recite a surah after the Fatiha, right? Obviously, we should, to the best of our ability, come with all the sunnah and everything that's going to make the prayer, inshallah ta'ala, complete. But let's say, for argument's sake, you wake up, Fajr comes out at 7 o'clock, you wake up and it's like 6:57. You make wudu at 6:58. By the time you get on your phone, it's 6:59. You've got 1 minute before the salah comes out. Hypothetical situation. You don't have no time to even recite an ayah, Sheikh Musa. You say Fatiha. The ulama, they mention that the قراءة سورة بعد الفاتحة سنة وليس بواجب. It's permissible for somebody just to recite Fatiha for the whole 4 rak'ah prayer, or even Fajr, and then he would still be, he would have performed his prayer correctly.
So you can decide to do it. So you have to justify the
Again, yes.
You can decide that.
You don't have to recite a surah. Obviously, it's better to recite a surah, but you don't have to. Is that new information to some of you guys? Jay, so
I don't mean to be rude, but what's the evidence for that?
that's a fantastic question. I can't think of a hadith right now, but this is what the ulama say when they're categorizing the. I'll come to you in a second, akhi. When they're categorizing the shurut and the arkan and the wajibat and the sunan. It's a fantastic question, by the way. I'm really happy you asked that, because you're the only one in the whole thing that asked it. They categorize reading the surah after Fatiha as being a sunnah. I'll try and see if I can get the evidence as well. Fantastic question. Taysir, tfaddal.
But you said if you don't have time, that it's gonna the time before it's gonna finish. But then if you start praying before the time's end, doesn't the prayer still count? Let's say you finish.
That's a good mas'ala. That's a good mas'ala. I don't know. But ala kulli hal, the point being is it's permissible to just to suffice with reading Fatiha only.
Thinking on to what the brother said, is it not off on
Talib?
No, is it not off on the one who says it's a wajib or a rukn? Anything above that to bring the dalil, not upon the one who says it's the one who comes with the shara has to come with the dalil, not the other way around. Do you see what I'm saying? So he said to you, what's the evidence that it's a sunnah? Should we not say to him, what's the evidence that it's a wajib? It should not work the other way around. Like the Fatiha, there's a hadith regarding the Fatiha, saying, Prophet said, whoever prays without Fatiha, I don't know the Arabic.
لا صلاة لمن لم يقرأ بفاتحة الكتاب. نعم.
But otherwise, other than that, the dalil is to prove the wujub of something, not the sunnah of something necessarily, not the mubahat, if that makes sense. That's where I would come from myself.
You guys are mashing me up today, man. Mashing me up. What I'm thinking about is like, I know what you're saying. The qaida is that everything in the dunya is permissible unless we've got a dalil to say that it's impermissible, and everything in the deen is haram unless we've got a dalil to say that. But if we look at it, the reality is, I don't know about every time the Prophet ﷺ prayed. I don't know about that. But when we do look at the sunnah, we see that he recited.
No, of course.
You with me? So there's my confusion right there. You guys are confusing me, so can we just move on swiftly? You're going to confuse me even more, actually? Allah understand.
We've got a question and something to maybe ask to
Talib?
Taysir's question.
Okay.
Abu Sahib said in the fiqh sunnah lessons we're doing that the salah to catch one rakah to be valid, you have to make the first sujood. If you catch one sujood before the waqt goes out, he said the salah is valid. If you don't catch the one sajda before the time goes
Sajda or ruku'?
Sajda.
Yeah.
Wallahu a'lam.
Did he bring dalil?
I can't remember.
There's a hadith for this.
Mm.
There's a hadith where the Prophet said that if you catch sajda of before the time finishes,
Okay.
then even one sajda,
Uh,
then you can catch the salah.
can we burden you with bringing that for next lesson? Inshallah ta'ala. Who are somebody else had a quick now?
Yeah, what's the linguistic difference between shurut and ishrat?
Okay, shurut here linguistically, as we said, I'll do the singular version. Shart linguistically means alama, a sign. And what was the other one between shurut and?
Ashrat.
Oh, you know, ashrat is the plural of shart.
But you said obviously said shurut.
Yeah. So when we're speaking about signs, like for example, the signs of the last day, or let's say that there was a sign, you can use ashrat. I don't know about signs, but definitely like signs of the hour, for example, you would use ashrat. You wouldn't say shurut as-sa'a. You say ashrat as-sa'a when you're speaking about their judgment. But when you're speaking about the salah, you wouldn't say ashrat as-salah. Or I've never heard that, shall I say. They say shurut as-salah. You with me? So when ashrat is used, it's speaking about signs. When shurut, speaking about signs connected to the last day, mathalan. But when shurut is used, it's speaking about conditions, i.e. in this case, the conditions of the prayer.
But say you're not praying Jama'ah and you're praying by yourself,
Mm.
and you've only got 1 minute left.
Mm-hmm.
If you stop just saying Allahu Akbar, is it still counting?
Okay, this is what the brother is saying. They're saying, if you pray, whether you're praying by yourself or in a jama'ah, they're saying that there's evidence to suggest that if you make the sajda before the time runs out, then you've caught that unit. So by the time you go to make raka'ah thaniya or thalitha or rabi'ah, the second or the third or the fourth, as long as you made that first sajda before the time came out, then you made that salah.
But how do you know when time's run out?
I mean, like, if you got a minute, you kind of know how long a minute is, kind of thing. So you say, you recite Fatiha, it's going to take you like, 15 seconds? Max. You don't have no time to recite another surah. You need to get down on the floor before the time comes out.
So going back to takbir al-ihram.
No. Again, takbir?
Sorry, yeah. If I
Takbir, say again?
takbir al-ihram.
Takbiratu al-ihram, na'am.
If I come to the salah and the imam is in ruku, I make the takbir al-ihram standing up.
Yes.
Do I have to make another takbir
No.
to go into the ruku?
No.
One suffices.
One suffices.
Can you repeat that?
Basically, from ala hasab ilmi, according to my knowledge. By the way, guys, if anybody needs to go, I wouldn't feel offended anyway. The question was from men? Anta. No, somebody wanted to repeat it, right? You walk into the salah and the congregation are in ruku'. Alright? So you say Allah, you face the qibla, of course, you say Allahu Akbar, takbiratul ihram. Now you've entered the prayer. Do you need to make another takbir, which we do make before you go into ruku'? Or do you just go into ruku' after the first takbir that you made? So mathalan, do you say Allahu Akbar, then go down? Or do you say Allahu Akbar and then you just go down? Now, when I asked one of my teachers, he's a dear friend of mine, he's a teacher of mine, he's one of my brothers, Tahir White. I asked him this in a car one time, because this is what I used to do. I used to do the two, like Allahu Akbar, Allah, and go down.
No.
He said, no, the imam, after the imam says Allahu Akbar and he's gone down, that takbir before the ruku', you've missed that. Salam. You've missed that. So you make the takbiratul ihram, which is a rukun min arkan as-salah, and then you go down straight away.
So the second one is not a rukun then? It's not a
No. If a person does it now, it's next question, is he sinful? That's a completely different issue. And I don't think he's going to be sinful. But we're talking about, does he have to do it?
I have a point on that. The first takbir is the entry to the salah.
It's the entry to the salah now.
It is a rukun.
Min arkan as-salah.
If you don't do it, then your salah is not valid.
Sahih.
But before making an action, you need to do another takbir.
When you say you need to,
yeah.
When
this
you
is what our Sheikh Abdul Razak has mentioned.
Labas, no problem.
So,
The word need necessitates that if you don't do it, then you're sinful.
Yeah.
Sah wa la?
Yeah.
If you don't do it, then you're sinful. Continue.
So he says that you need to have a two takbir. So
Okay.
if the imam you see is in the ruku, means you enter the prayer by saying takbir, Allahu Akbar, and then you doing another action which is
I get it.
ruku
I get
by
it.
saying Allahu Akbar and as the ruku.
Perhaps there's ikhtilaf in the mas'ala.
There's two opinions he clearly said, but the strong opinion is the two.
طيب بارك الله فيه والله أعلم والله أعلم.
Say you come in
This is
late.
going to be question and answer. Go ahead.
Say you come in late and then you say Allahu Akbar and they're in sujood,
Sujood?
ruku', and then you say Allahu Akbar but they come up.
Yeah, okay. One of the arkan of the salah is that you move into these positions with what we call in Arabic al-i'tidal. You guys heard this word before? Al-i'tidal is where you allow the bones in your body to go into their position when you move from position to position. You understand? Like mathalan, who remembers the narration where a companion, he came into the masjid and he prayed so fast, and then he came and said salam to the Prophet alayhi salam. ماذا قال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم له? What did the Prophet alayhi salam say to him? ارجع فصلي فإنك لم تصلي. ارجع فصلي فإنك لم تصلي. Go and pray again because you haven't prayed. Why did he say that, guys?
It's very false.
He prayed fast. He didn't have al-i'tidal. He didn't have al-i'tidal. And to have al-i'tidal is when you go into sujood or ruku or whatever position you're going into, you have to allow each of, oh gosh, there's a click there. You have to allow all of your bones to be, yeah. If you go like this, like this, that's not having al-i'tidal in the salah. You with me? So, if you come late and you go into ruku, but the imam's coming up, Allahu A'lam, but what's apparent, you've missed that ruku. Because you haven't got لفقد الركن, because you've missed a rukn, and that is al-i'tidal. Guys, are we just gonna? I don't mind doing the questions. If we're gonna close up, the translation.
Yeah. So what we learned is.
Can't remember the translation of it.
From ruku, you stand up. That is the ihtidal.
Of course.
Do you say that when you in the sajda?
Any position in the prayer, you have to have al-i'tidal in. Not just in ruku,
So
even
resting is called ihtidal.
Say again? Resting.
Yeah.
I didn't translate it as resting. I can't remember the best translation for al-i'tidal, but you guys understand the meaning.
Yeah.
It's for you to have who said tranquility? I was
Tranquility.
I was tempted to say tranquility.
For sure.
No, I'm more tempted to say tranquility. But even tranquility is not the like sakina. You commonly translated as tranquility. It's more what
Meaning balanced.
Settle down, maybe.
maybe whatever word in the English language means. You guys understand?
Yeah.
You with me? Whatever it means to let your bones rest and you're not rushing. هذا هو الاعتدال.
Comfort.
Allah knows best. I wouldn't say comfort personally. Can we continue though, Ikhwan? أرجوكم. But what was your question? So Talib, you said, and I said I'm gonna write it down.
Oh, what was the dalil? What was the evidence for to read the surah?
أيوة دليل قراءة بارك الله فيكم. قراءة السورة بعد الفاتحة. Thank you. Appreciate that. So, all right, let's move. All right, فمثلا the Shaykh mentions here فمثلا الركوع في الصلاة من أركانها بالإجماع. Making the ruku' of the salah is a rukun by the consensus of the scholars. فإن توفرت جميع أركان الصلاة فالصلاة صحيحة لا أقول مقبول. If somebody fulfills all of the arkan, he doesn't miss out a single arkan or rukn from the arkan of the salah, then his prayer is correct. I didn't say accepted, I said it's correct. وإن عدم ركن واحد منها فالصلاة باطلة. If a single rukn is hasn't been performed, then the prayer is incorrect. All right, guys, the prayer is incorrect. Questions? The question?
Can you say the 14?
14.
Yeah,
We'll cover them when we get to them, because we're going to go, inshallah ta'ala, in detail with the proof for each one, bi'idhnillah ta'ala. But we're not going to start with the arkan, we're going to start with the shurut, the 9 conditions of the prayer, and the proof for each one. Then we're going to go to the arkan, then we're going to go to the wajibat, then we're going to go to the sunnah, and then we're going to start the book, inshallah ta'ala. Jade. So like I said, الفرق بين الركن والواجب في الصلاة أن الركن لا يسقط عمدا ولا سهوا ولا جهلا. Alright, بل لابد من الاتيان به. It says here that the difference between a rukun and a wajib in the salah is that a rukun is not to be missed out, whether intentionally, out of forgetfulness, or out of being ignorant. This goes to show the importance of learning, ikhwan. Because if you're not excused for being ignorant of something that should be known by necessity from the religion, then it goes to show the importance of knowing that particular thing. Alright? Those arkan, they need to be learned. They need to be learned. And how do you learn them, akhi? By studying. It's the only way you're going to learn them, by studying. طيب. أما الواجب فيسقط بالجهل والنسيان. As it relates to a wajib, then if it is missed out of being ignorant or forgetfulness, then يجبر بسجود السهو. Then you can compensate for that by doing 2 for forgetfulness. I mentioned already that the conditions of the salah are 9 in number. How many did I say the arkana?
14.
Excellent. 14. Remember that number, inshallah ta'ala. And we're going to mention it in due course, بإذن ربنا عز وجل. طيب. That's 8. This is 9. If you don't mind, guys, can I just finish this page? Do you mind? I'll run through it at a decent speed. But we're going to actually now start the conditions of the salah. Alright, so inshallah, if you guys can have your pens and paper ready. أولا شروط الصلاة هي 9 شروط. The conditions of the prayer are 9 in number كما يلي. الأول الإسلام. شرط الأول is الإسلام. The first conditions from the condition of the prayer is that a person is a Muslim. What is?
But didn't you say that non-Muslims could pray?
No, I said before in the lesson before last that there's a difference of opinion amongst the scholars regarding are the non-Muslims required to pray. Even if we were to say, for example, they were required to pray, that doesn't mean that they're going to be their prayers accepted. It's like mathalan, the one who drinks khamr, or he is intoxicated with weed, mathalan, and he prays. Is his prayer, this is for you, Taysir, the one that's intoxicated, whether it be with alcohol or another type of intoxicant, right? He prays. Is his prayer correct?
No.
La. Does he still, the one that does that, or the one that goes to a soothsayer, you know, the one that, or the fortune teller, and he, to predict the future, his prayer isn't accepted for how many days? 40 days. Does he still have to pray? Still has to pray. It won't be accepted, but he still has to do it. The one that's intoxicated, he prays, it won't be accepted. So the issue here is, going back to your question, even if the non-Muslims were required to pray, doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be accepted. Now we're covering the conditions for the acceptance of for the correctness of the prayer. Does that make sense? So anyway, that's a different mas'ala anyway. Question, guys?
Just what book is this one? Hamid ibn Abdul Wahhab's Shurut, or is it?
Naam, I got this by the explanation by Sheikh Abdul Muhsin Al-Abbad. It's a kutayyib, it's a small little risala. But anyway, the first condition is what? Question? Oh, ma'alesh. The first condition is Al-Islam. Alright, the first condition is Al-Islam. The second condition from the conditions of the prayer is what we say in Arabic, Al-Aql. Al-Aql. Al-Aql means intellect.
Sanity.
Sanity or intellect. Either way, sanity or intellect. And why is al-aql a shart from the shurut al-salah? We got a dalil from the sunnah which go to show somebody else. غيرك وغيرك. Have you, what you going to answer?
No.
غيرك. What you going to answer? غيرك. Akhi, you want to try and give a shot? Having sanity, being sane, or having intellect is a condition from the conditions of the prayer. You need to have your sanity in order to pray. If somebody, ala sabil mithal, is drunk, he's intoxicated with weed, you don't have your sanity. If somebody, and I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to protect us all and our children, but if somebody has a child and the child has like severe mental disabilities, all right, could be considered majnoon. He has that child hasn't fulfilled a condition from the conditions of the prayer, and that is to have sanity. What is the proof? My question is, what's the proof for this statement?
Okay, you lifting the penna. Can you put it down, please?
Lifting the pen? Nah, he was being smart, mashallah. He was being smart, mashallah. Mashallah. That was nice. That was nice. That was nice. Now,
The pen is lifted from 3.
هكذا قال. ما شاء الله تبارك الله. رفع القلم عن 3 أو 3. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wa ala alihi wasallam said in a hadith that the pen has been lifted from 3 people. النائم اكتبوا إخوان اكتبوا اكتبوا اكتبوا. اكتبوا means write. اكتبوا. رفع القلم عن 3. رفع القلم عن 3. The pen has been lifted from 3 people, or 3 people if you like. النائم حتى يستيقظ. The pen has been lifted, i.e. that writes down our good and our bad deeds. The pen has been lifted from 3 people. النائم, the one that's sleeping, حتى يستيقظ, until he awakes. So if Abu Sumayya ala sabil mithal is sleeping and he does something he shouldn't do, is he held accountable for that? Unless he was faking sleeping and he just wanted to be a mushawish.
You mean like sleepwalking?
Sleepwalking. Some people sleepwalk. Allah al-Musta'an. Or some people might not even sleep, but they do things in their sleep. You know, I've been hitting my face in my sleep before. You know, somebody's hit me in my face. And one time, I'll tell you something that was really funny, man. I don't know what was happening at the time. I must have been like, really stressed out. But I was sleeping with my family. And I think she scared me out of my sleep. Not on purpose, but she done something. And the first thing I did is I strangled her. I strangled her. I didn't do it on purpose. I wasn't aware of what I was doing. Some people, when you spook them, right? I strangled her like this though, man, like that. And it's dangerous though, because you could seriously hurt somebody. But the point being here,
I didn't know what you were doing.
exactly, the pen had been lifted from me in that particular instance. You with me? النائم حتى يستيقظ. المجنون حتى يفيق. And this is the shahid here. The person that's insane until يفيق. The sanity returns.
What if you pray whilst you're sleeping? Like you just get up, you don't know what you're doing, but you start praying.
Yeah, nah. No. I was going to say something. Okay, yeah. With regards to the insane person until his sanity returns back, we have to understand that somebody being insane is of different types. You have people that are insane for their whole life. That's just how it is. Or they became insane and they're going to be insane for their whole life. And then you've got some people that they lose their sanity, but it's temporary. You with me? It's temporary. So it doesn't mean, for example, they would never have to pray again. If his sanity returns, then the obligation of as-salah will return. If the sanity is mustamir, yani until he dies, then he wouldn't be required to pray. And this is a rahmah from Allah tabaraka wa ta'ala. Question?
I just want to add something. What we were discussing earlier, Brother Abu Bakr said about the Sahabi on purpose didn't pray complete his salah. because
Did
he
you
fainted.
say on
He
purpose?
didn't say on purpose.
No, it
He didn't
wasn't
say
on
that.
purpose.
So he didn't complete his salah.
No, he didn't say he didn't. He said that he forgot to pray it, right?
Yes, yes.
He forgot
The
to
time
pray it.
passed.
But after the time
But
passed,
he
he
didn't
didn't
do it
make it
on
up. He just made an
purpose.
istighfar.
Yes. So what I read the whole thing about this is, since Allah lifted the pen from the person who is insane, or who doesn't got the sanity back. So here, so the Sahabi fainted, and he.
That was the reason he.
Yeah,
You
and that's
sure?
why yes, he fainted, and that's why he didn't complete his salah.
Was you familiar with that?
No. Well, we'll ask anyway. We'll probably read.
Inshallah ta'ala. Guys, let me quickly finish off this hadith. The first one was النائم حتى يستيقظ والمجنون حتى يفيق والصغير حتى يبلغ. الصغير حتى يبلغ. And the small child until they reach the age of puberty. Now this is a very, very interesting mas'ala, alright? And this is going to lead us to the next condition, which is at-tamyiz. Now I don't like to translate the word at-tamyiz, me personally. And a lot of the times I would prefer us to learn the word in Arabic and just understand it in Arabic. You with me, guys? Let's not get too reliant on always having the English translation, alright? As long, like for example, al-i'tidal. We don't really need to know what it means in English, or the exact word, but you need to know what it means. Does that make sense? So we've said that the first condition is al-Islam and the second condition is al-Aql. Alright? And I mentioned the hadith which goes to show the pen has been lifted from somebody that hasn't got his Aql. But the hadith also mentions the next condition, which is at-Tamyiz, which is as-Saghiru hatta yablugh. The small boy until, or the small child, shall I say, until they reach the age of puberty. Now puberty has signs. It has signs for boys and it has signs for girls. From the signs of puberty for a boy is his voice drops, he starts to grow hair in his private areas, and he starts to have wet dreams, right? But the signs of puberty for a girl are her period, her menses. I believe the sign of her start to grow breasts, etc. They're different for boys and girls. Now, as it relates to at-tamyiz, the ulama mention that a child is required, or he's advised to pray once he reaches the age of 7 years old. Alright guys, 7 years old. Once our children reach the age of 7 years old, then we should command them to pray. When I say command, not, if you don't do it, you're going to get beaten. We should encourage them to pray, should I say. Encourage is more of a suitable word. Alright, when they reach the age of 7. Once they reach the age of 10, then we should discipline them. As the Prophet ﷺ said in a hadith which we're going to cover soon. Now the reason why this is that once a person, anyone, gets used to a routine, once that thing becomes an obligation, now it's going to be very, very unlikely that they're going to leave it off. However, if our children are not used to praying by the time that they're 7 to 10 years old, what's the likelihood, unless Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala has mercy upon them, that they're going to pray when they're 15, 16, 17, 18? It's very unlikely. But it's more likely that if a child has been cultivated when they're young and praying and stuff like that, then inshallah ta'ala when they grow, they're going to get older. And I tell you something, again, this is a personal story. I hope my missus don't mind and my daughter don't mind me saying this. But when I was in Al-Medina, my eldest daughter now, she's 11. But she was around, say, 7 at the time this particular incident happened. And she's 7, she's saghir. So I wasn't like mutashaddid by no stretch of the imagination in making her pray, especially Fajr. Like I'll just get up, I'll pray my Fajr, get her ready for school. And then one day her teacher, imagine this, her teacher messaged me and she said to me, "Ya Aba Maryam, why don't you get Maryam to pray Fajr?" And I felt so embarrassed as a man. I felt embarrassed so I didn't have an answer. It wasn't as if she didn't have time. I was just a bit negligent in that regard because I thought, well, she's only young, it's not upon her to pray. So every time she would go to school, they would give her an abaya and make her pray. And from that period in my life, I never ever intentionally never made her pray. And I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to reward that teacher, she's Abla Khadija, her name was, from that moment here up until inshallah ta'ala Maryam returns to Allah tabarak wa ta'ala. You never ever know, ikhwan wa akhawat. You might say something to somebody and you might not necessarily think anything of it, but it could cause that person to change their life for the better. And similarly, you may say something to somebody and you may not think anything of it, but you might really affect that person and it could change his life for the worse. So be careful about what you say, bi'idhni Rabbina Azza wa Jalla. And there's a dalil to prove that. The Prophet ﷺ mentioned that a slave may say something and he won't give any importance to what he said, but it would be pleasing to Allah and it would cause the pleasure of Allah that such that he would enter the Jannah by that kalima. And the opposite is true. A slave may say something, a servant, a Muslim may say something, and he won't He won't pay any mind or any attention. But it would be so displeasing to Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala that it will cause him to enter what? An-nar. When I ask Allah for myself and for you all and your families and my family, protection from the fire.
You see if someone who's not saying, they decide to pray, are they rewarded for that?
Again, according to my knowledge, according to the hadith, the pen's been lifted. So they wouldn't be rewarded, and Allah knows best. They're not required to do so. Allahu A'lam. I will say Allahu A'lam. What was the first condition I mentioned, guys? Second condition? Again? Al-aql. Third condition? At-tamyiz. Now, when a person is actually required to pray, is once they reach the age of puberty. When do people reach puberty? What age do people reach puberty?
15. Normally.
Sure? You reach puberty at 15?
Normally.
What about you? Did you? It's different. Different strokes for different folks. Somebody might reach puberty at 12 years old. Alright? Somebody might reach it at 15. You with me? So when I said in the beginning that we encourage our children to pray when they're 7, and that encouragement gets a bit more stronger when they're 10, it's not ala sabil al-wujub. Alright? It's not because you're saying it's incumbent upon you to pray. My daughter, that's again on her case, to pray, especially now she's in secondary school. You get worried. So her mum said to me the other day that my mum said, have you prayed? She's like, no. Then she said, Rahi salli, go pray. She says, Mama, do I have to pray? Like if I don't pray, am I going to get sinned? And obviously she hasn't reached the age of puberty yet. So her mum was like, you should pray, it's better to pray. She goes, but Mum, I'm asking, if I don't pray, am I going to get sinned? The key here, smart. Not trying to say that she didn't want to pray. She just wanted to know, what's the situation? Am I going to be held accountable with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala if I don't? Because obviously she would have learned somewhere that puberty is a condition from the conditions of the salah. Ikhwan, I'm going to finish on the last one. Did you have a question? No, I've got stories for days, actually, man. Trust me. Last one, guys. This is the 4th condition from the 9 conditions of the salah, and I really do apologize for going over so long. Condition number 4 is raf'u al-hadath. Raf'u al-hadath. Removing impurities. Alright? And removing impurities can either be done by al-wudu, if it is al-hadath al-asghar, or it could be by al-ghusl, which is al-hadath al-akbar. Alright, we've got impurities, if you like, guys, split into 2 categories. Category number 1, minor impurities. Minor impurities are only removed by al-wudu. And the asl is that wudu is made with water. Major impurities are only removed by al-ghusl. Alright, al-ghusl, if one has the ability to do so. Alright, guys? So it says here, رفع الحدث وهو الوضوء المعروف موجب الحدث. Al-hadath huwa kullu kharijin min as-sabilayn. Al-hadath is anything that comes out of your 2 exit points, the front or the back. So if you urinate, if you defecate, or you pass wind, you've broken your wudu. Alright, guys, you've broken your wudu. Wal-hadathu hadathan. And hadath, impurities of 2 types. Al-hadathun akbar wa hadathun asghar, major and minor. And those major impurities are things like, mathalan, if a person ejaculates, whether they ejaculate, a man ejaculates as a result of having sexual intercourse with his spouse, or he ejaculates by having a wet dream. However it comes out, you have to make al-ghusl, alright, for the man. For the woman, you've got period, her menses, and you've got postnatal bleeding. That once she finishes after pregnancy, she has to make al-ghusl before she can start to pray again. Tafadhal ya Taysir. Al-ghusl, excellent question. Al-ghusl is a ritual bath, if you like, that the Muslim takes where he is instructed or required to wash certain parts of his body. You with me? He washes his hands at first, then he washes his private parts 1 to 3 times. Then the rest of the actions is just like making wudu. So you wash your hands again, you wash your mouth, your nose, your arms up to ila al-marafiq. Alright? You, instead of wiping over your head like you do for al-wudu, you wash the whole of your hair, making sure that the water reaches your scalp. And then you pour water over your whole body, including washing your feet. That is al-ghusl. And like I said, al-ghusl is the asl is that it's made with water. Even, you gonna go? Yeah, even with al-wudu, the asl is made with water. But in the instance, ikhwani wa akhawati fillah, that a person doesn't find water, or he finds water but he has a mani', something that's preventing him from using that water, i.e. he's got an injury. Alright, and if he uses that water, it's going to cause him harm or even death. In such a case, he has a substitute for al-wudu wal-ghusl with water, and he makes what? At-tayammum. Alright, at-tayammum. How is at-tayammum performed? With clean dirt. Alright, you tap it, your hands on the earth, clean pure earth, and you just like that. Alright guys, when I was in hospital recently, I couldn't move, I couldn't go to the bathroom, I couldn't walk to the bathroom, so I had a period of my time where I could make a tayammum, and it was lovely. Honestly, it was just lovely, because as soon as it's time for salah, I had a stone with me that I had done anything, bam bam, whoosh, Allahu Akbar, and I was, alhamdulillah, man. May Allah protect us from illnesses. Fadl akhi. Fadl, anta. Malik su'al? No, it's you, sorry. Done? طيب الحدث يكون نعم الحدث يكون بالغسل أو الوضوء. Removing one's impurity is done by making al-ghusl or making wudu liman wajad al-ma, for the one who finds water, أو قدر على استعماله, or he's actually able to use the water. فإذا لم يوجد الماء أو وجد ولكن لم يقدر على استعماله انتقل إلى رفع كل من الحدث الأكبر والأصغر بالتيمم. If he finds water and he's unable to use it, or he doesn't find water, shall I say, and he doesn't find water, or he finds it and he's unable to use it, then he is to make a tayammum, whether that be al-hadath al-akbar or al-asghar. And ikhwan, the hadith that indicates this is where the Prophet ﷺ said, collected by Imam al-Tirmidhi, and it's going to be the last thing we mention, إن الصيد الطيب طهور المسلم وإن لم يجد الماء 10 سنين فإذا وجد الماء فليمسه بشرته فإن ذلك خير. The Prophet ﷺ says, pure clean earth is a purifier for the Muslim. That's the shahid. Pure clean earth, الصيد الطيب طهور المسلم, is a purifier for the Muslim. وإن لم يجد الماء 10 سنين, even if he doesn't find water for 10 years. He's gonna die. Interesting. Maybe some orange juice and ginger beer. Allahu a'lam. فإذا وجد الماء, if he finds water, فليمسه بشرته, then let him use it for purification on his skin. فإن ذلك خير, for indeed that is better, and Allahu tabaraka wa ta'ala knows best.
See how you just said orange juice or ginger beer?
It was joking.
Can you not make wudu with that?
No. That's a good question. It's a good question. Inshallah, we'll cover it soon. But if one of the qualities of water change, then it can't be used for making purification, because you've got water that is pure and it can be used to purify. And then you've got other liquids that are pure but they can't be used as a purifier. So orange juice, lemonade, Coca-Cola and stuff like that, whatever floats your boat, whatever you like to drink, you can drink it. It's pure to drink. It's not impure. But you can't use those liquids to make al-wudu. But water is pure. You can drink it, and it can also be used as a purifier. Make sense? Make sense? Basically, you can't make wudu with orange juice, akhi. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك.
So now, guys.
No, تفضل.
What about seawater?
Yeah, you can. The Prophet ﷺ was asked the question. As a matter of fact, this was, I believe, the first hadith that we were required to memorize in the faculty of hadith. Let me see if I can remember it. The Prophet, one of the companions went to the Prophet ﷺ and said, "Inna narkabu al-bahra wa nahmilu ma'ana qalilan min al-ma fa in tawadda'na bihi atishna afanatawadda'u min ma' al-bahr." Na'am? Or kama qala an-nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. He said that when we, take journeys on a ship in the Nahr al-Bahr, we take with us a little bit of water. All right, we have a little bit of water with us. In tawadda'na bihi, if we make wudu with this little bit of water that we have with us, atishna, we're going to become thirsty. أَنَتَوَضَّأُ مِنْ مَاءِ الْبَحْرِ, can we make wudu with the water of the sea? Who knows what the Prophet ﷺ replied and said?
No.
I don't think he said na'am. He said something else. So I know he said something else. Sorry. What did he say, guys? هو الطهور ماؤه الحل ميتته. He says that its water is pure and its dead is pure too. It's dead is permissible. I.e., if something that lives in the sea and cannot exist except in the sea, if it dies, you can eat it. But it doesn't mean that if something that lives on the land drowns in water, then you can eat it. Like if a chicken, I don't know what a chicken would be doing in the sea, but let's say a chicken fell into the sea and drowned like that. You can't eat the chicken. It's not permissible. Unless you're going to die, of course. Hukum changes. But generally, you can't eat that because it wasn't slaughtered in a permissible way. And it's not from those animals of the sea. You with me? And from one of the benefits of remember the Prophet ﷺ was asked about what in the hadith I just mentioned? Making wudu. But he answered about what? Wudu and
eating of the...
Allahu Akbar. And the ulama mentioned the hikmah in this. Who can think they can guess? Why did the Prophet ﷺ answer a question that he wasn't even asked? You guys get the mas'ala?
Yeah.
The mas'ala is, he was asked, can we make wudu with the water of the sea? And the Prophet ﷺ, he could have just said na'am, like Muhammad Dawood thing that he said. He could have said na'am and just gone about his business, but he didn't. He said, huwa at-tuhur, ma'uhu al-hillu, maytatu.
To answer future questions.
Allahu Akbar. Akid, if people are on a journey and they're going to get thirsty, it means they're going to get... So he dealt with a question out of hikmah, knowing the situation of the people. Subhanaka Allahumma wa bihamdika ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu. Forgive me, akhi. I got to go now. Barakallahu feekum. I enjoyed myself today, guys. Thank you. We're going to continue from the fifth condition next week, inshallah.
Sorry, brother. The mass is going to close now, please, inshallah. If you have sunnah.